never bite usually means they've bitten in the past. But, it's like a knee-jerk response. And a lot of times I think people think that we're judging them. I have no judgments, like it does not offend me if your dog is upset and or doesn't want to be touched. Like that is no reflection on you. That is purely your dog just doesn't want to deal with it. And that's totally fine. Like that's respectable. Sometimes I'm at the doctor and I'm like, don't touch me. But, I have to sit there because I'm paying for the exam. So our goal, again, is to keep their best interest in mind. And if the veterinarian says, hey, I think we need to break for today, like I'm going to give you a written prescription. We don't carry it in-house, but usually we use trazodone. So like we use the gabapentin for cats, we use trazodone for dogs. And you're going to give that at home, and then you're going to come back another day, and we're going to try it again. And the benefit of that is, again, we're not trying to inconvenience you. We're not trying to take up more time. It's just, it's going to be a more positive experience because your dog's threshold of touching and, their anxiety level is going to be a lot lower. And so it's going to be easier, and it's going to just set us up for a better appointment next time. And if, the dog is really, really aggressive, right? And we have to do an injectable sedative. We have to do an injectable sedative. It's uncommon, but sometimes it happens. But when they start ramping up, if anyone's ever experienced rage, right? That like you're fine and then just one thing and then everything pisses you off and they just like explode, right? And then you get like a rage hangover later where you feel guilty for yelling and then you don't even know what happened, right? So that's our primitive brain. That's our limbic system. And dogs, dogs have a primitive brain. Like they don't stop and say, I wonder why I'm upset in this situation. Is there a better way that I could express my anger aside from taking some flesh? No, they don't, right? Because their sympathetic nervous system gets triggered and, it's a survival instinct, right? If a bear starts chasing you, you want to run. You don't want to stop and be like, hey, bear, can we talk it out? So when they get that anxious, it doesn't matter who you are. And it's not that they're trying to insult you because they'll feel really, really, really bad afterwards if they bite you. Cats really don't care. Cats are like, oh, your finger shouldn't have been there. But dogs will feel really, really guilty. And then there's like this whole weird dynamic between the dog feels guilty because they bit the owner and then the owner's upset, but also sad. And we're really just trying to avoid that. And realistically, if you are bitten in a veterinary hospital and, you cross over that line into the clinic and you're bitten, especially while I'm trying to do my exam, then I'm liable and you're going to win every time in court. And unfortunately, that's usually most of the lawsuits that happen in veterinary medicine. So I have liability insurance through the AVMA, PLIT, and personal liability insurance trust, I think. And they send out these newsletters every few months, and they're always like, Dr. A was examining patient X, and client Z was bitten on the hand during the exam. And then, like, the client wins every time because we are supposed to, we know better, right? We know when they're going to get upset. We know when they're going to bite. And most of the time, sometimes they just go, like, a little crazy. But we have the responsibility to ensure the client's safety. And it's hard sometimes when people don't respect that that's what we're trying to do. So if you see a sign that says, please allow us to restrain your pets, or we ask you to restrain your pets, like ask you to let us restrain your pets, we're not trying to be rude, and a lot of times as older veterinarians retire, clients get upset because they think, well, that's not how, the doctor used to do it. Sure. People also didn't get sued as much. And so, and again, it's also a change in the perception of how we care for the animals and how we restrain the animals. And it's not personal. It's just, we want everyone to be safe and we want everyone to have a good experience. Now, are there instances where I let clients hold because the animal does better with the client than with my staff? Sure. Most of the time those are working dogs, like if they're police dogs, or they're military dogs, because they have a handler, right? And they're like, their job is to attack or sniff bombs or whatever it is. But their handler is the one that tells them when it's okay and when it's not. And if their handler's not there, I can't do anything. So those are rare instances where the owner holds. And usually those dogs have a basket muzzle on. Those are the ones where it literally looks like a basket's over their face. So they can still eat, they can still pant, they just can't nom nom. And I do have a couple of patients that are just ginormous dogs that do way better with the owner. You know, it's funny. It's like some do really good with mom, some do really good with dad, but they like never do good with the other one. So if it's a dog that you know will only respond to the owner and then like the other half comes in, it's usually a little interesting. But those are very, very few and far between. And for the most part, 99% of the time, it's going to be better if we hold as opposed to having the client hold. And the other thing is a lot of clients don't like it when we have to do stuff like take temperatures. I mean, we got to go by the butt. It's gross. We have to give shots that can sometimes hurt. And so instinctively, they actually kind of like let up a little bit when we're doing something that they think the animal won't like. And again, that's not because they're trying to mess with our flow. It's just, it's inherent, right? You don't like it, so you don't want to look. So all of this kind of rambly podcast is really just I guess at this point, 21-minute long request to, if your vet says, please let us restrain your pet, we're not being mean. We're really just trying to help, and we're trying to facilitate a better experience, a better exam, and provide the best care that we possibly can. And like I said earlier, next time we're going to go into what exactly I'm looking for on a physical exam. I think that about wraps it up. As always, thank you for listening to this installment of Vetsplaining. I hope you enjoyed your time with me and ideally learned at least one new thing for the day. If you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, feel free to leave a comment below or email info@independenthillvet.com and put podcast topic or podcast comment in the subject line. Until next time.